Hello. On behalf of the board, I welcome all members of the audience to this evening's meeting. This meeting is a working session of the board to conduct the business of the district. The agenda for today's meeting, the agenda for today's meeting has been published, and the agenda items to be discussed and or voted on have been studied by the board members. I'll introduce the people here on the dais with me. To my far left is Recording Secretary Cindy Benson, Superintendent Larry Francois, board members Amy Cast, Sandy Hayes, and Kimberly D'Angelo. Director McCravey had to go out of town and regrets she's unable to be here tonight. I'm Janet Quinn, and I currently serve as president of the board. Agendas for this meeting, as well as minutes from our previous meeting, are available on the back table. If you're here to address the board on agenda items, please sign the clipboard on the back table, and you'll have an opportunity near the beginning of the meeting to address the board. First order of business is the superintendent's report.
Good evening, and welcome back from your very short break after a very long afternoon of retreat. I want to begin tonight with the pending release of our draft boundary plan in the coming weeks. I want to take this opportunity to sincerely acknowledge and thank the members and support staff of the Enrollment Demographics Task Force for the many hours they've spent wrestling with this critical and challenging issue, especially the members of the EDTF subcommittee who invested over 40 volunteer hours developing the actual draft boundary recommendation. As the board knows, this plan will touch nearly every school community in our district, and while any change, but especially boundary change, can be difficult for families and staff, it's important to keep in mind our larger goal of the past several years to address our enrollment growth in a way that provides benefits to our instructional program, as well as long-term sustainability. I really want to encourage folks to participate in our online input process, as well as the upcoming boundary open houses. The EDTF will consider all input received during the month of March to see if any changes are warranted in the draft plan before submitting it to the board in April. On January 11th, I attended the Greater Bothell Chamber of Commerce luncheon, at which City Manager Bob Stowe provided the annual State of the City address. Bothell continues to be deeply focused on their downtown redevelopment, and their projections indicate growth of 17,000 additional residents within the city limits over the next 20 years, which was quite an astounding number. The next day, January 15th, I attended the Greater Woodinville Chamber of Commerce luncheon, at which City Manager Rich Leahy provided the annual State of the City address for Woodinville. Wooden Creek Village project is currently underway in the downtown area of Woodinville, and that will bring in 800 plus new residential developments over the next several years, as well as retail space. Although the residential development at this point does not appear to be the type that will draw numbers of students of school-age children into the new residence. Further developments in the Wine District, road and traffic improvements, and wayfinding signage are all underway or on tap for Woodinville as well. On January 16th, I attended the Puget Sound ESD Superintendent meeting. The legislative session and changes in the state assessment system continued to be major topics of conversation amongst that group. We also had a presentation from Mike Colbreese, Executive Director of the WIAA, updating us on issues and projects the WIAA is working on, including reclassification and a heightened focus on sportsmanship. January 20th, we all attended the Lockwood Elementary School improvement visit. I truly appreciated the presentation from new Lockwood Principal Gary Keeler and the candor and insight with which he shared the school's performance data, their strengths, and their opportunities for growth. And as always, appreciated the staff and students welcoming us into their classrooms. January 21st, I presented to the North Shore Kiwanis and updated them on the progress of North Creek High School grade reconfiguration and boundary adjustments. It's always enjoyable to meet with this Kiwanis group, although they are becoming a much smaller group in recent years. They have much collective history from our community, including past periods of rapid growth, regular openings of new schools, and boundary changes. So they are a wealth of institutional and historical knowledge for sure. On January 22nd, I provided a similar presentation focused more specifically on the upcoming release of the draft boundary plan to our office personnel group. Last Friday, I had the opportunity to attend a tour of WorkSource Renton. So this is part of my orientation as a new board member for the Workforce Development Council of Seattle and King County, which is the parent agency of several workforce centers in the Seattle-King County area. They work with a number of government, community, and education partners and provide a wide range of services out of their Renton office, including job training, job search and placement, GED programs, ESL programs, high school completion programs, veteran services, financial advising, and several others. It was truly an amazing organization down there. I had no idea the breadth of services that they provided. And finally, last Saturday, I had the opportunity to attend the North Shore Schools Foundation Holiday Celebration. It's always enjoyable to spend time with Foundation board members who volunteer so much of their time, energy, and talents to raise funds to support teachers and students across our district. And a reminder that their Light a Fire for Learning Luncheon is coming up on April 7th.
Thank you, Larry. Next on the agenda is our annual special presentation. Partnerships Coordinator Karen Orsinger will honor the school board because January for the governor is School Board Recognition Month. So we'll have a short break, I understand, after the presentation.
Correct? Well, good evening. So tonight we take time to recognize you, members of the school board, in observance of School Board Recognition Month. So on behalf of the staff, members, students, families of our North Shore community, I want to thank you, school board members, for making a difference through your leadership and dedicated commitment to providing a high-quality education for all North Shore students. So tonight, Woodinville High School students in Jay Tonnislin's CAB CAD class have created something very special for you on my classroom's 3D printer to commemorate your service. The 3D printer was purchased with funds granted through the North Shore Schools Foundation. So this is one way we'd like to highlight the district and foundation's partnership together to support our students. So at this time, I would like to invite Jay and two of his students to say a few words. And after their comments, we would invite you to take a few minutes to enjoy the refreshments provided by the North Shore Schools Foundation. But before I turn the floor over to Jay, I want to thank him, his students, and the North Shore Schools Foundation for their help in honoring you this evening. So thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
I'm never nervous in front of students. You guys, different story.
We're just
What's that?
We're just
So I teach welding, CAD, and robotics at Woodinville High. You guys helped us get a very cool tool that we have been using a ton lately. It's a 3D printer. It prints things that you draw in a CAD program. Just hit print, and then you have a physical model. Very cool. Last month, NASA actually needed a wrench, or they didn't need it, they wanted it as a proof of concept. They printed a ratchet wrench that worked on the space station. I found the model and printed it on our printer that we have, and it's an actual working model. So we made you guys things. And to say thank you for supporting our programs. This is the future of manufacturing that is going to change things in ways that we can't even imagine. And all we're doing is prepping these guys for it. I think they have a couple things they want to say. It's Kyle and Claire.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and what I have here is a project that I worked on for 2.5 months in the class. I don't know if you guys know much about racing, but it's a passion of mine. And what I have here is an off-road race vehicle called a trophy truck. And I designed it in the CAD program, and it's so big I had to make it in 3 different parts. And I modeled this off of real race cars, and I had it so out of the printer I have working suspension components on the truck. And these all came out of the printer working. And this section here is all one part, one printed part. This is all one printed part, and this took me, again, about 2.5 months of constant work every single day to do this. And without the printer we have, there's no way I could actually build this and feel it and actually get a hold of my model. So it's really cool, the stuff that we're able to do in the class. It's just amazing technology.
Hi, I'm Claire. I don't really have a cool car to show you guys. Right now I'm working on a helicopter, and it's a 2-scale version of a real helicopter. And after high school, I really want to get into welding, fabrication, aerospace kind of stuff. And it's really exciting for me because I can actually make something without building a full-scale helicopter, which would be basically impossible. And so this class is really exciting for me because I've kind of figured out what I wanted to do, and I could actually do it now. Really cool.
Very good. Thank you so much for thinking of us.
Somebody with school board.
You worked hard. No problem. Thank you.
The ratchet reversal.
That works straight out of the brain. Work.
I know, this is much so interesting. Wow, how wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate you very much. Happy to support the program. We'll take a short break and go down and grab refreshments. Can we be back in 5 minutes? Absolutely. Bring your new toys.
Website you post those on?
Mostly we're Facebook. I'm sorry, I'm mostly the cameraman.
Okay.
I used to be more involved when we formed about 18 months ago.
Wow. So you just
I'm
basically
busy with work. I work at a startup, so
yeah, I can use it.
yeah, and so it's like I can show up and I can play cameraman,
Yeah.
and I can text the people still involved. Like, hey guys, Janet is asking us their opinion on something. What's the consensus? Hey Janet, they say this. And that's our general feeling.
Yeah.
And that's about it for what I do at this point. So, I feel bad. I don't even post the website.
Don't worry about it. What's it called? It said transparency.
Yeah, NCTSF.
That's all I need. I'll just
Okay.
I'll find it.
Your ones.
I'm a computer guy, so
I'm not.
Do you remember the flip phone? That's my favorite phone.
Okay, I've been told I need to replace this for about 3 years.
Don't.
Yeah, because it's got an entire day's worth of battery still
Yeah.
after being used for 8 years.
They run out like
Yeah, like it still outlasts all the modern phones somehow.
I miss my phone.
And I had a party and then we came, so now what? Kidding.
I mean, there are trade-offs. It doesn't have data. Well, it's like, okay, if I want to browse the internet, I've got a computer for that.
Because we've been replaced. Yeah, I mean, yes, I could. He's now the director of location. Jeff Sherman popped up to certificate. So I'm filling you in. So now we have to.
All right, as I just said to Jay and the students, I'm encouraging them to go home unless they have a burning desire to stay. We really appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you. Full compliment again. It's always amazing what you guys come up with every year, but thank you. This is very much appreciated by all of us. All right, next item on the agenda is association and public comments. The North Shore School District Board of Directors has set aside a period of up to 60 minutes to receive updates and comments from association leaders and citizens from our community. The board expects speakers to address matters related to district operations, policies, procedures, and agenda items under consideration by the board. Comments should not make reference to any employee or representative from the district by name. If interested, there is a complaint process available through the Office of the Superintendent. Please note that because of the public governance process, the board may ask clarifying questions regarding topics not on the meeting's agenda, but will likely defer discussion to a future meeting if warranted, in order for staff to prepare the necessary background information for board members to review and for the discussion item to be included on a published agenda for the benefit of any other parties that might be interested. Alternatively, a district employee or board member may respond to individuals offering public comment at a later date if warranted. When addressing the board, please state your name clearly for our records. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. There is a timer that will sound when your timer has expired. We appreciate your participation in the governance process, and we will start with association leaders. Carmen.
Hello, I love January. My name is Carmen Dalzell, and I'm the director of the North Shore Schools Foundation, and I'm here with some of my board members here in the front row. You know, heard it up because we love January because it's School Board Appreciation. So I just wanted to take a second and thank you for your countless hours that you put in for the students, their education, to make their parents' lives easier, and to support teachers becoming better individually, and also for them to make even bigger impacts on the students that they serve. So I spent some time today reviewing the minutes of every school board meeting this year. Because I thought it would be really interesting to just kind of sum it up, but it does seem impossible. However, I have a partial alphabetical list. So I wanted to thank you for your work with the August advance, for the passing the bond and levy. See, there's alphabetical, right? Collective bargaining, district boundary negotiating, employees. You've hired hundreds of people, and almost 100 retired this year, and hundreds of people have been trained, lots and lots of employees. Lots of federal law changes, graduation requirements, highly capable programs, and you have approved journeys for our students to Oregon, California, Indiana, Georgia, Idaho, Vancouver, BC, Washington, D.C., Louisiana, Florida, and New York. So we think you deserve a break. Unfortunately, you have a whole meeting in front of you. So thanks to my new awesome retired teacher, Susan Jackson, on my board, you get your very own break to the beach. So this set includes many tropical delights, some cards made by the niece of 3 North Shore School District teachers. It involves some tea, and some tropical, and you get one too. I know, I'm sorry. I'm going to just break protocol. I know it's shocking. But you get one, and guess what? Check it out. Cindy's in it too. So we just wanted to say, we really appreciate all your hard work. Thank you so much, and enjoy your break at the beach.
Thank you very much. Are there any other association leaders?
Good evening. I'm Mindy Worth from North Shore Council PTSA. I'm Vice President. the one job I have to stand in for 2 presidents, and they're not here tonight, so I have to fulfill my duty. Good evening. Thank you for your service. I didn't know we were celebrating you this month, but thank you very much. I've got a couple of quick updates. Last Monday, Martin Luther King holiday, was Focus Day for PTA, and from North Shore we had about 45 people by some counts down at Olympia rallying for initiatives that are important to PTA and for education and for our kids. We had meetings set up throughout the day with representatives, all of our representatives from the 1st, 45th, and 46th district, which was great. So we got to meet with all of them if we could. There was a little bit of overlap. And I believe we counted over 50 postcards that we hand-delivered to each of our representatives. All of them had at least a little note written on them in terms of things that are important to the PTA and important to us as parents as well. And we also got the opportunity at the end of the day with a couple of folks from our area had a private tour of the governor's residence with Trudians, which was a very neat way to end the afternoon. The other event that occurred last week that I wanted to give an update on was the Canyon Creek Community Meeting, which was last Tuesday evening. This was a panel of speakers from the City of Bothell and Snohomish County, both the Planning and Public Works Departments. They attended to address growth and transportation topics in the North Bothell area. The planning departments for both Bothell and Snohomish County gave presentations with a brief history of Bothell and its growth, and they provided insight on how they evaluate and plan for growth and the comprehensive plans for the future of Bothell and unincorporated Snohomish County. The event was well attended. By my last count, which was during our actual regular business meeting, we had close to 100 people in attendance. A couple I had the chance to speak to were older PTA members and members of the community, which was neat to see there. And so not our current PTA representatives. And then we had a few folks from our school attend as well. At the end of the event, we had a Q&A session, and there was a number of questions regarding a couple of key topics that came up. And I thought I'd share the feedback from this since we were unable to have a district representative there, so a couple of questions actually were more directed toward the district. There were some questions around how coordination between the city, council, and district work to accommodate growth. These questions were referred back to the capital plan that's produced by the district on an annual or biannual basis. The topic of impact fees came up, so you guys may have seen some questions about that recently because I think there's some confusion around how impact fees are actually determined based on the formulas. One question even came up from a few members of the community that are concerned about eminent domain as they live in an area that is presumably attractive to the district for future growth of an elementary school. And we also talked about some traffic trouble spots. And one in particular, which is a walkway that connects Skyview Junior High over to 39. And there's a number of kids that just race across the street early in the morning or in the afternoon. And it looks like the SKIP program through Snohomish County, which is Safe Kids Improved Pathways, is actually going to pay to put in a lighted crosswalk at that road since there is no lights between 228th and 212th. And so it's turned into a bit of a drag street. And I'll give some feedback, which is just mine. This is not on behalf of council or anything. But the general sentiment I took away and some of the feedback I received from different people after the event was there was a sense of frustration around the delayed response or apparent lack of coordination by the district to address growth plans for Bothell and Snohomish County. Specifically when we saw the growth targets for the Snohomish County portion of Bothell, which is just a small sliver, and we are actually under target for the growth projections by the county and by the city of 3,500 people. And so for those of us that live up there, we're kind of wondering where they're going to go and what schools they plan to attend, especially since some of these plans have been in the works now for the last 10 to 20 years. So that was some feedback that I received after the event, especially after the presentation and walking through the history of planning and how that works. So this is the one update, and I just wanted to show a visual.
Technology.
Sorry, this is a little
little difficult to see. This is a map from Snohomish County, and basically what we have here is the urban growth line, which runs along 45th Avenue. We have 228th Street here. This is the county line, so this is Snohomish County, this is King County over here. And then this line right here is approximately 39th Avenue, so this is called a super block. This area right here, and everything that you see that's highlighted yellow is an active permit right now with Snohomish County. So these are all 1 or 5 acre parcels that are being converted into multifamily communities. And this is what has neighbors in our area very concerned. Not because we don't like change or because we wanted to be the last people in, but because we are wondering where all the kiddos that are presumably moving into these houses are going to live. Or go to school, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Any other associations? I see. No? Pardon?
No gifts.
No gifts for us? And for Region 6? Yeah.
Hello, I'm Janice Katsera, and I am the Region 6 Director for Washington State PTA, and I also want to thank you for all of your service. I know that you put in hours and hours and hours of time, so very much appreciated. I just wanted to call attention to one resolution that I found because it's timely as you're going through your deliberations this evening. In 2012, the members of Washington State PTA passed Resolution 11.21 titled Alignment of Sleep Requirements for Optimum Health with School Start Times. The resolution addresses the research and issues surrounding sleep deprivation, student performance, and natural sleep cycles of teens in conjunction with PTA's supportive legislation in the areas of children's health, safety, well-being, and education. I won't read all the whereases, because there's a number of them, but the last line says, therefore be it resolved that the Washington State PTA will encourage and support school start times that meet the optimum health requirements for sleep needs. I would also like to commend the PALS group, the North Shore staff, you, the school board, North Shore PTAs, parents, and teachers, in taking time to work on this issue together. I think collaboration is a great thing, and I'm happy to be seeing that lately. There's no easy answer, as we all know, but I appreciate that you're willing to take the time to try to make a decision soon. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. I don't see any other associations, so we'll move to citizen comments. Sorry, let me organize here for a moment. All right, first on the list is Linda Frisch, sorry. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. Reset, that means reset.
Oh, already? Good evening, my name is Linda Frisch, and I'm a Kenmore resident. I come before you tonight wearing several different hats. I have lived in the Kenmore and the North Shore School District for 39 years. Next month will be 39 years. And I have a daughter who attended Inglemoor High School, and she graduated in 2005. I retired from my previous job in 2003 and became a bus driver in 2006. My husband was a bus driver before me, and he started in 2004, had such a good time, said, come join me. And we both came from United Airlines, so we've been in the transportation operation our entire lives, but we just go much slower now. And this is my bus driver hat. Thank you for laughing, thank you. And so this is my bus driver hat. I was a flight attendant at United Airlines, and I'm one of those people who just believes in the process and the values of having an option. And the year after I started driving, I was asked to be run for shop steward, which I did. So this is my union hat that I also have on, my shop steward hat. My greatest concern that I want to address is the change in the bell time. And my biggest concern is the money that it costs. My husband was asked, as a community member, I could not support a transportation levy that would increase my taxes so high and cost so much to the district at the expense of every other area, but I just couldn't support a levy that would do that, just so kids could sleep in. I understand the science behind students to have a later start time to their school day. However, we've had many wonderful and successful students graduate from this district and go on to great things, and the majority of them all had to get up early. My daughter went to Inglemoor High School, as I said, and as our family, we elected to go through periods 2 through 7. So we had an option. We had an option of an hour, a little bit later start time. I knew I'd have to drive her to school because she didn't have a car yet, obviously, as a sophomore. And as our freshmen would not have cars, there would have to be carpooling within families. That would be a decision that would be able to be made to these other families. But, and this would be an option if we allowed this to go to Bothell High School and Woodinville High School that wouldn't have a heavy monetary burden on the taxpayers, is if we had the option of periods 2 through 7 to be included at Bothell High School and Woodinville High School. My husband was asked to work with another group of drivers on the options for different bell times. And believe me, all the information that you have in front of you, I've talked about it for weeks. He would do it after, in the midday of his work, and we'd come home and talk about it, and oh my God. Anyway, so I know what you have, and I know that you see the costs associated with different hours, as far as buying new buses and what it costs your employees and on and on. And it is a very difficult decision, I understand totally. But your decision has many ramifications beyond get-up times. Is that my time up time?
That is your time, and if you have written comments, we are happy to read them, so if you could just either email them or,
Can I talk faster?
If you're finishing a sentence, no problem. If it's longer than that, if you could email them to Cindy, that would be great. We promise to read them.
Okay.
We absolutely read everything that we
Okay.
get.
Well,
So, yeah, no
I
problem.
had a really good closing, so be sure to get
Thank you very much. All right, next is Nancy Chandler Brown.
Thank you. I won't have the time for me then. Good evening. My name is Nancy Chandler Brown. I'm a mother, taxpayer, parent, and I'm also a school bus driver of 30 years. I have a child that went through this district, attended Maywood, Canyon Park, Bothell High. At 4:30 in the morning, that child was rolled out of the sack from the time he was 6 weeks old. I had daycare. I had to work. I still have to work. It's important. My child had to adjust. Going to school at an early time sometimes is really unpopular. It's hard. I remember I used to have to get up too, make lunches and get my family going because my mother was sick. The reality is that our high school students are almost adults. They're almost out there going to college, in the military, doing a job, going to technical school. They've got to get out there and do something. They can't sleep in on those kinds of jobs. They have to get up. They have to follow a schedule that the boss sets. If the bell times are changed, it may be good for some of them. But in the long run, I believe, as a parent and a taxpayer, it would be more effective for students to go to bed at a reasonable hour. Mm-hmm. Put them in bed if you have to do it physically. I mean, I used to go and tell mine, turn off the light, turn off the phone, no more texting. No more Xbox. Go to bed and go to sleep. It sounds simple. It's not. Mine fought at cats and dogs. He hated it. In the long run, I believe he's adjusted. I have a boy that became an Eagle Scout, finished with highest honors at University of Washington, spent a year at the NIH doing research, and is currently at Stanford University doing his doctoral work. Did it hurt him to get up? Maybe. I don't know. I can't say that on his accomplishments. He's had to fight to get where he's at. He's had to put up with an old war horse of a mother because I wouldn't compromise my standards. I held the bar very high, and I expected him to rise to it. So, I know you guys have a hard decision. It's up to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Ted Christensen.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I believe I know most of you. My name is Ted Christensen. I've taught band and orchestra at Inglemoor High School for 32 years, and for the last 15 years have served as the district music coordinator. More importantly, I'm a parent of a student and a property taxpayer living in this fine district. Our music program in this district is nationally recognized for excellence in music education, as well as having many school groups performing at state, regional, and national conferences as models for other music educators to emulate. Many of our music staff have served as state, regional, and national leaders, elected by their peers because of the excellence they display as music educators. None of this is an exaggeration, and I don't know of any district that the quality has been consistent, that has been this consistently displayed. North Shore School District is a place where music education is believed to be a priority. This is felt in the community, among the parents, staff, and more especially the students. Folks move to our district so their children can participate in our music program. I am here because moving to a later high school start time too quickly could potentially have a negative effect on our program. Before you draw any conclusions, I want you to know that there is nothing I would like more than to have high school start later. For my first 20 years in North Shore, my jazz band met at 6:20. It wasn't great for kids or the teacher. My concern is that the current structure of our elementary band and orchestra program, that is, busing students to instructional sites, would not be possible. There are not enough buses or drivers to run in conjunction with the proposed high school late start buses at this time. Furthermore, I haven't been able to locate any information as to the elementary and junior high school start times if this change were made to the high school communities. Has this been decided? And if it has, could I see what we're talking about here? Currently, we have the elementary band and orchestra students ride junior high buses to 12 instructional sites. 6 sites are at junior highs and 6 are at corresponding elementary schools. Music education happens before the elementary school begins. Students are bused back to their home elementary schools before their regular classes begin. This system has been in place for 50 years. Students are not missing any of their regular class to participate in our band or orchestra program. As you can see, there are many moving parts to this structure. The elementary band and string program is going to have to be reorganized when the district makes a conversion to middle schools in 2017. This is a given. Currently, we have 2 staff members on school committees that are looking how programs will be restructured after the conversion. Our music staff will be looking, I'll send this up.
Thank you, Ted.
Let me just finish one sentence here. Who knows, given the appropriate time, maybe we're able to develop a program that's even stronger than what we're offering now. But I'm begging you, please don't move too rapidly on this. Give us time to adjust. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. And please do give that to Cindy and I'll get copies. Eileen Fisher?
Good evening, school board and Superintendent Francois. My name is Aline Fisher, and I'm a Kenmore resident and parent of students in the district. I understand you'll be voting on a resolution tonight to support high school start times no earlier than 8 a.m., beginning with the 2017 school year. This worries me, establishing 8 a.m. as the earliest start time rather than a healthy start time of 8:30 or 9 a.m. at the earliest. You've been inundated with the science behind our push for a healthy start time, and the transportation matrix lays out some of the costs. The tension between a healthy start time and the budget is real, but don't lose sight of the goal that our community has tasked you to achieve, a healthy start time for high school. The matrix presented by transportation shows options that require more drivers, buses, and new Teamsters contracts, and I do realize those will take time to implement. Pursue the ones that get us to an 8:30 or 9 o'clock start time, but don't ignore what you can do right now to give students relief next year. The simplest and easiest way to achieve a later start time is to adopt the plan that rolls back the entire start time by 40 minutes beginning in the 2015 school year and continuing through the start of school in 2017, when a plan that requires more drivers, buses, and a new Teamsters contract can be implemented. Rolling back the start times by 40 minutes per the transportation options will not increase operating costs and would retain elementary music, 9th grade academy, and satellite programs. Additionally, the state efficiency ratings remain the same, and the drivers would be able to retain their current bids. This seems to be the easiest plan to implement and achieve a later start for the coming year. The one negative noted in this plan was some late elementary students dropped off after 5 p.m. And I believe the main concern is in the winter when it's dark. One way to address this would be to add a small bus or two to those routes to get those kids home earlier, or have those few students dropped off at stops either closer to their homes or at their doorstep. It would be the last stops of the day, impacting nothing later in the evening. And while this would add to the cost, I think it would be negligible, seasonal, and should be considered. Your constituents have clearly asked you to create a healthy start time for high schoolers, and the matrix presented by transportation gives us some options. One, which you could implement right now at no cost to any of our programs. Please roll back the start times next year. Our kids need relief now. And I would like to sincerely thank you for serving on the board. You guys put in tremendous hours and are highly unpaid. Your efforts are appreciated. Thank you, Elaine. Patsy.